Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Janilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Let's get it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers who are looking to create more income, who are looking to create more impact, who are also looking to create more influence and freedom outside the 9-to-5. Man, that's who we are here to teach. That's who we are here to help. But also people who just want to get better in life and join us as we go along in our journey, the Hartzogs. I'm joined here by my beautiful wife and co-host, Mrs. Hartzog Hustle herself, Janilka Hartzog. What up?
And if you saw my face, then you knew that I forgot to get the review of the week together.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm going to get it at some point. But thank you guys for joining us. As usual, we always ask that you comment, subscribe, share, like, let everyone know what we're doing. Share this podcast with others. Let us know what topics you want to hear. So, yes, without further ado, I will jump into the podcast of the week. The review of the week.
We are the podcast of the week.
Yes. So this is from an older episode, but they said 2 points that I love from the podcast is people resigning to pursue their passions. That hit like crazy. LOL. And the second point is when you said you're most excited about getting your time back. That's what's most important to me. Appreciate you both and congrats on your retirement. That was for you. Your next Janilka, smiley face. And that's from Widow Shah.
Widow Shah.
Yeah,
if you guys didn't know, I
you.
retired from my 9-to-5 at the tender age of 35. And the goal was to just do what we want to do in our own terms, create more freedom for myself and my family, but working for the Hartzogs, working for the Hartrimony, working for, whatever we do. So that's been the goal. We achieved that goal. That was just one of our goals. And by that we got an announcement for Janilka.
What's my announcement?
You put your time in.
I'm on leave. I'm taking
Leave is huge.
I'm taking a leave of absence from work, kind of like a sabbatical, I guess.
That's exactly what that is.
Oh yeah,
that's
sabbatical.
huge.
I feel like sabbaticals back in the day. I haven't heard anybody use it now, but yeah,
that's huge.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm taking a leave of absence from work for 3 months.
Everybody can't do that, so let's put some.
Okay. Well, then that's using. This is some snaps, whatever you got to put. I thought I was hearing
and the audio. I haven't done it. I'm gonna have to do it in the next one.
Yeah, so I'm taking a leave of absence, and we will see how it goes. But today we wanted to...
Wait, let's talk about that for a little bit. What's the goal of that? Why are you saying you're just taking leave of absence to chill? What you going to do? Like, what's the goal? Why are you doing this?
SVU.
All right, she's going to take 3 months off of work to watch SVU.
Honestly, I guess maybe to see if being at work is what I want to do. At first... not years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we were speaking with our coach and stuff like that. And it was always like, well, what's happening? Why aren't you leaving? I'm like, I think me having to, I have my master's, I'm a mental health therapist, and I'm like letting go of that part of that identity feels weird.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not working, what am I doing? Which is probably what most people think. And kind of is what happens with people when they retire at 65, 70, and then you see them working at Walmart, Target, or something because they just get bored. Or Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is a fun environment. It's very nice. They usually get bored, and they, not to say that I will get bored. We have she's no longer a newborn when she hits over 3 months, but we have a young daughter, and we have businesses, so I don't think I'll get bored. But that over time, I've let go of the identity part of it because. Yeah. It doesn't mean I'm no longer a therapist. I will always remain licensed in New York and Texas. I can always do therapy. People are always going to need therapy. It's just like doctors or nurses. It's always going to be around. So I can always jump back in. So I let go of that. But then I've been at my job for, I think this year is going to be 8 years, actually.
Wow. Congratulations.
I've been here
a
pretty long time. And so just figuring out if do I want to leave? Do I want to be there part-time? Is that a possibility for me to do in my position? I mean, all these things. So
you get
a little break.
You get to take a break. Number one, that's huge because a lot of people can't just say I'm taking off work for 3 months. Do you get paid for that?
Well, you have to use your PTO and sick time.
So you have to have enough.
You have to have enough. So I only have enough that's going to last me about 6 weeks, about half the time.
So
then after that.
About a month and a half.
Yeah, about half the time.
So a month and a half you'll be paid. The other month and a half you won't.
Right.
So that means that your businesses, your income outside
better
of
work out.
So that's the thing too. So
it gotta work or it gotta work.
So a lot of people don't have that luxury to say, I'm going to take 3 months off of work. Because number one, a lot of people don't have a month and a half of PTO.
That's true.
Sick time.
That's true.
And then number two, a lot of people don't have the ability to say, I'm okay with not being paid. So now that puts you in a different conversation at work. Mm-hmm. So I know at my job, if I went to my job and said I wanted a sabbatical for 3 months, or not even sabbatical, I think you could get paid for sabbatical. A leave of absence, you don't get paid. I don't know the difference between the two. But
I don't know either.
If you go to your job and say, I want to take a leave of absence, that normally leave of absence it has to be approved, but more than likely they're going to approve it.
It has to be approved by manager, but my thought was, why would your manager deny it?
Yeah. And
but I'm sure there are.
So a lot of people don't have the ability to go to their job and say, I want to take 3 months off. Mm-hmm. Now, when you do go to your job and say, I want to take 3 months off, they know you're not getting paid. So who in the hell in their right mind is going to take 3 months off of work knowing they're not going to get paid? To me, that means they make too much money and they don't need this job. That becomes a red flag for a management team, I am sure.
I'm sure.
So they're discussing your replacement as we speak.
Or return, or if I will return.
Yeah. They are now gearing up to replace you at your 9 to 5 once you... And we spoke about that too. We was like, you got to be ready for those type of commitments too. Like, even when I put my resignation into my job, it was like, we got to be ready for what's to come behind that.
Yeah. They may say leave now.
They may say leave now when you put that resignation in. A lot of companies do that. They're like, all right, you put in your 2 weeks in, we're giving you 2 minutes notice that you're going to be fired.
And for my job, I have to give a month. As a manager, you're supposed to give a month at my position. Obviously, you can do what you want, but with being with the company for so long, I would follow those steps. I wouldn't just, all right, I'm out.
So your job is now on notice that you don't need this money, you don't need this income. You are now okay with
taking. But that don't mean I don't need the money ever. It just means 6 weeks.
That's a long time. Let's say it was 3 months. You are able to survive
missing
without.
Checks. Yeah, no, I know.
How many paychecks is that? That's 6 paychecks?
Yeah, 2 checks.
That's 2 checks a month, 6 paychecks. You are able to survive without 2 checks a month, 6 paychecks. That means that you don't need this job. That means we need to be thinking about your replacement ASAP. That's what I be thinking about. And I was a manager. First thing I'm thinking about is, right, she may or may not return. This may just be the first step of her not returning. So let me think about her replacement now.
Yeah, well. My goal is to return. That is my goal. Okay. I mean, just like my goal was to return after maternity leave, and I did come back. So my manager didn't think I was coming back. She kept saying things like, if you don't come back, I'm like, what? Why do you think I'm not coming back? But yeah. So
that's huge.
I gonna be on leave in my last day should be like the next 2-3 days. So we'll see how it goes, what that looks like for us, like with me not working and Alani and all that stuff and stuff.
So yeah, speaking of Alani, we want to go ahead.
No, I'm gonna just say we want to give an update on Parenthood.
Yeah, so we've been so a lot of you, obviously you guys know we have a newborn, and our goal has been
not a newborn anymore.
We have a kid. And our goal has been to continue doing what we're doing in terms of business, in terms of our relationship, in terms of life, but also we have a new addition in the family. Yeah. So managing and maintaining everything that we already had on our plates with a new kid, a newborn, no longer a newborn. So now we have our nanny right now in the house, and she's watching Alani as we record.
Yes.
So we had to bring extra help to help us continue to do what we're doing on top of.
Because I think about, like, what would you say have been some changes in our life since having her? I speak to some people and they're like, well, you're still traveling the same amount. And I think for both of us, we didn't want our life to change based on our having a child. Obviously, there's certain things you can't do or whatever, ignore. Especially with us. We live out here in Dallas, Texas. We really don't have any family support. So we had to have a nanny. So there's certain things we just can't up and do. You can't hit me up on Friday and be like, all right, let's go to dinner Friday night. I gotta bring my child.
Yeah.
If that's what's happening, we bring in the kid because I'm not going to just accident any last minute, So things like that. But any other big changes that you think we've made? One I can say is bringing the podcast in-house. Mm-hmm. That was a big change that we made. I think we did maybe 2 episodes since she was born outside of the house. And then after we all right, let's get this together in here.
Yeah.
But any other big life changes you feel has happened?
Well, you just mentioned one where you're not able to get up and go like you used to.
That's yeah.
I had somebody in town and we were planning for a week, and the day of was like, yo, we changed the plans. And I was like, nah, I don't feel like leaving the house at this point. Like I'm
that's you.
I'm gonna chill with my kid.
Well,
it wasn't officially planned. So if you don't got official tissue plans, that's actually on my calendar.
I was about to say, if it ain't on the shared family calendar, it ain't happening.
That's a big one. I don't think we paid attention to our calendar as much as we do now.
I agree.
I think that's a big change. Sticking to the calendar, sticking to what's priority. If it's on the calendar, more than likely it's priority.
It's happening.
And is more than likely going to happen. So sticking to the calendar was very important to us.
Yeah.
Another big change is having a nanny 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
When we first started, it was like, all right, we only want a nanny for 30 hours. And we had to make a life change. And we had to figure out, all right, if we wanted to keep this nanny, we had to give them 40 hours, which means that we had to make sure we are able to pay them 40 hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
which means we still got to show up.
We always knew that, we don't live a life of, I don't know if the word is struggle, but we don't really live a life of, let me try it out and see if that makes sense. I think we knew that we need support. So from the beginning, that has been a conversation of when do we put the support in place? We've mentioned this before that we had my aunt was with us for 3 months. From when she was born straight to the end. My aunt left Saturday, the nanny started on Monday. That is how we were and my grandmother had even came down 2 months into my aunt being here and helped as well. That's how much that we were specific and intentional about, we know that we're going to need the help. We're first-time parents. We don't want our life to be disrupted. I was going back to work. Just because he's retired doesn't mean he's not working. We still have to show up. Podcasting, lives, meetings, things like that. So finding someone that we trust was a really big deal as well. Because I know I have conversations with people and they're like, well, I don't know how you trust these people. And it's like, with anything in life, I don't know anybody fully, but you do what you can. Your background checks, you do the vetting, you have a vibe, you have a feeling, you test them out around your kid and things like that. So having a nanny is something new that no one in our family has or had in the past, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes older generations kind of look down. Like my grandmother, I know my mother has said she's had those conversations like, why do they have to pay for help? Why, we're going to be there. And she's like, my mother said, well, you're not going to be there the whole time. What's going to happen when you leave? Mm-hmm. Who's going to help them then? And even when you are here, we have my mother visit, we still have the nanny come because watching a child is a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. And I think that hired help, we had these conversations with our friends down here. Hired help is different from family help. If you're watching, I'm sure it's just a difference. And so, yeah, the hired help is here, but the family can still go, okay, I'll watch her later on after and still feel like I'm connected and stuff like that. So
yeah,
hiring help was something within itself, but something different that I don't think anybody outside of our close-knit friends here in Dallas do.
But it's also just and this episode is also giving you guys a little bit insight as to how we balance it all too. So
right,
even with help, like you mentioned, nobody in our circle or family, we could go to and ask about nannies and stuff like that. My friends have kids, but not to this degree where we wanted full-time help. We wanted somebody full-time. So it was just like our business, I would say. We treated the hiring of a nanny just like our businesses, honestly.
We did.
And it is a business. You have a business to manage and run your household, and you bring in a nanny and help. Not even just a nanny, help in general is a portion of the business that you run that is called your household. How can you make that household run more efficiently? How can you offload some of the tasks? And with hiring a nanny, we were like, all right, we're going to treat this just like our business. We're going to interview. We're going to do background checks. We're going to do this.
How you respond, how quickly you respond.
We treated it the same way. So we took what we learned in our business and applied it to our household to help us kind of get over that hurdle of not saying we've never done it before, but taking the experience that we did have and applying it to this.
And then I think also with us, what we've noticed, at least what I've noticed so far with having a nanny, is like the attention that a hired help or gives the child is different from honestly what we would give.
Yeah.
And honestly what your family members give. Like I speak to my friend, I'm like, if I was watching her, she would probably be in the swing. Like, okay, we about to watch the show and you go, right? But if you have a nanny or someone that's you're paying to be there, they're on the floor with them. They're reading 3 books a day. They're making sure their schedule is, they're going outside for the vitamin D. They're doing this. They're doing all these things that I'm like, do you have the time and patience to do as well? And so I think that's another thing that we see with having a nanny that, she's going to grow, I feel, so much further and get the attention that she needs so much further than if it was just us doing it and winging it while we're working and just having her on our hip while we typing something up.
Yeah, I think it goes back to just having a professional.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. That's true.
Having a professional do something. So even when Alani was born, we had a doula, and that doula, the purpose of her was to teach us like how to raise a brand new kid, like not raise a kid, but how to have a newborn. No one teaches you how to have kids. There's no one that says, this is how you have a kid. This is how you change them. They tell you look a little bit in the hospital, but on a day-to-day basis, once you take that kid home, there's nothing to go off of. No. You're going out, you're figuring it out. So having a nanny, a professional hired help to help you get through the day, they know what they have experiences, they've seen it, they have a schedule, they know what's normal, what's not normal. So we're all about having that help as well.
And just helping with, laundry, all those type of stuff. But for you, how has it been, I guess, as what they call you, a support parent? What is that? Is that what they call you?
I guess a support parent.
Yeah, support parent. And I guess that's because you're not the one that's delivered the baby. And I breastfeed currently. And so how has it been for you, I guess, as a parent?
In general?
In general, yeah.
Oh, I think when you're the support parent, your goal is to figure out, all right, you can't do everything, but what's the things that you can do that takes the burden off of the parent who is nursing more than likely. So that's the type of things that I figure that I could do. So that's like my goal is like, all right, I'm the one that's changing all the diapers. I'm the one warming up the bottle. I'm trying to feed her with the bottle itself. So those are things I try to take off of your plate. And I think that's like my goal with parenting on the other side of it.
Yeah. Which I feel you do really well.
Now, I can't do everything. This sounds like I don't want to change another diaper. It's like I've changed every dirty diaper that's come through this door.
At the beginning, it was like a running joke that she was pooping for him.
Yeah, it's like, so like that's what you want to do as a supportive parent, because you can't do I didn't know how much time nursing takes.
Child, me neither.
And that it is very time consuming. So we were trying to figure out, all right, what things we could do to make that process easier. So we got the automatic one, we got the one that goes in,
and the suction.
We got like a whole bunch of different like pumps. It's like, how can you automate this process? Like,
he kept saying that. I'm like, babe, you can't automate. You say that about the baby journey in general.
How can we automate this process? It has to be a better way to figure this out. So we tried a bunch of different nursing devices that
pumps.
Pumps. A bunch of different pumps that allow you to maybe have more flexibility. Well, if you got to sit down for 15 minutes, 3, 4, 5 times a day, that's a couple hours out that's at least an hour and a half out your day every single day that you can't move. How can we allow you to have more flexibility, be able to move more, use your hands to be on the phone or whatever it may be to make your life a little easier? And I think that's the end goal, just try to make your life a little easier.
Yeah. And that, I think that's been really, really helpful. Just in regards to breastfeeding in general, that has been a journey. That has really been a journey. I don't know if I was one of those people like, I don't know. I never was a parent that's felt like I must breastfeed and that's the only end all be all. And in my head, I was like, I'll take it how it comes, probably end around 3 to 4 months. And, but there's been a formula shortage. And so we're going, we're hitting 5 months and onward. And like he says, it is so time consuming that sometimes a lot of times it's kind of frustrating, not having to nurse, but more of the pumping side of it. Yeah. And so it's like, I can't, life has to, if I need to leave the house at 3:30, I need to be makeup and everything done by 3 because I need to pump by 3 to make sure that I'm like fully pumped before we leave the house. And so life really, that has been a big change. And I look forward to one day not having it consume so much of our lives, but for now it works for us, and it's not to the point like what the doctor said. She's like, as long as you're still feeling healthy and fine to do it, go ahead. She's like, when it becomes too much, then just stop, because a happy mom is a happy baby, right? Like, don't let it take over. Let it be so stressful in your life. And if it becomes that, then
stop it.
Stop, and you'll make it work.
You gotta figure it out.
Breastfeeding has definitely been a journey, I would say.
Yeah.
Time consuming that you just never even think about.
And that's time outside of just the baby itself.
Yes, exactly.
That's a whole nother time.
And we're coming up on Alani being 5 months old, which I think you always hear your parents say that the kids grow so quickly. And just like anything, you don't know until you experience it. And it really has been that things are going so quickly. Like I remember vividly coming home from the hospital. And now she's sitting up, flipping, fake coughing, all of these things. And it's like, where is time going? Where is time going? And I know I had this conversation with you. Like, I'm like, I go so ahead, like college or like when she goes to school. And then I think about the sad things, like the first time somebody hurts her feelings, how is she going to react? And all those things. Yeah. That could be just I don't know if it's just a mom thing, but
it's definitely a mom thing. I think about college. I think about college too, but I think about financing college. So we think about college in two different ways.
Oh, you think about his money?
Yeah. How we gonna pay for college? How to make sure she's set for college?
What about school? Even before we go to school, before you get to college, what about regular school?
That's fine. She can figure that out. That's public school.
No. So two things about that. We learned that there's tons of waiting lists when it comes to like daycare, right? Putting your child into daycare, having to tour to feel which one you feel is the best. That's one thing. And then we learned that out here in Dallas, preschool, unless you're part of like a welfare or one of those programs, public assistance, you have to pay for preschool. Yeah. Which is mind-blowing for me. In New York, it's free.
Well, that was our public school education right there at work.
What?
That was our public school education at work.
What do you mean, at work?
Meaning like New Yorkers don't have the best education system.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was free.
Oh, got it. I say that we have no state tax in Texas, but you pay for it in other ways.
Yeah, definitely paying for it in other ways. So you mentioned the like things we think about. So yeah, time is flying, and I realize that time is definitely flying, and I feel like my goal is to spend as much time with her as possible. So I mentioned this on previous episodes, but you really, really realize the lack of time we really have in this life. And I've done that. You'll sit there and reflect and be like, damn, I really got a kid. And then, damn, okay,
that's something that's said in this household a lot.
It's like, damn, I really have a kid. Damn, time is flying. Damn, they're rolling over. So you sitting there trying to figure out how can you slow down time, and you realize you can't. So the only thing you really can do is just try to enjoy every moment as it comes and goes. Right. Because it's going to be, these are fleeting moments in our life that we'll look back and we'll say, oh, I remember when she was born. I remember when she started rolling over. And then, like you said, she's walking down the aisle or she's at prom or something like that. So time is really just a measurement of memories.
A measurement of memories. I never heard that one before. You got that from somebody?
Nah, that was a ball. Drop that. That's a ball.
Wow. Time is a measurement of memories. That's like a tat.
Yeah.
You could get a tattoo.
That just came off the dome too. I might have read it in the book. I don't know.
Oh God. Now you say But speaking about time, I think about sometimes of feeling guilty of not spending enough time.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why we said when we first started, when we were looking for a nanny, we were like 35 hours because we're like, okay, then the rest of the time we'll spend with her. Right. And I hear some of our friends say like they had a nanny that left at 5 and the baby's down at 6:30. And it feels like, well, when do we spend time? Or like when they start to go to school, they come home, they probably take a nap, eat, I don't know, and then they're down by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And so sometimes having that guilt of not spending enough time happens here and there. I think we work in the home, so we're home a lot more. And when we're traveling, she's traveling with us. But it does kind of cross my mind of that. Yeah. Am I spending enough time with her? Does she feel like Not that she's forget who mom and dad is, but does she feel the love that we want to share with her as well?
Yeah, I think the guilt comes into play when I'm trying to balance work. So it's like, all right, well, I know these things have to get done, and it's very important for us in our businesses. But again, you're saying yes to the business. That means you're saying no to your family. And I don't truly believe there's a balance that can be occurred, because in a seesaw, there's really no balance. It's either up or down.
No, you balance out in the middle.
You got to have two people of the same exact weight, same exact stature, same exact height, sit on each ends of the seesaw for it to balance. Now in life, is that going to be the same thing? Absolutely not.
No, because there's one that's going to be more important than the other.
It's always something that's going to be more important than the other. So that's when you talk about trying to balance both. There's really no balance. It's either you're saying yes to the family, you're saying no to business, or you're saying yes to business, saying no to the family. So there's really no balance. You can't say, well, I'm going to spend 8 hours with Alani and I'm going to be 8 hours in the business. No, it's not going to happen like that, because then you got time, you got sleep, you got to eat, you got this, you got that. So now it starts subtracting into those times that are happening over and over again. So if something like, let's say after this podcast, the nanny leaves and you go downstairs like, oh, I got to finish talking to the ads team. That's me saying yes to the ads team and no to Alani. So there's really no balance in life, I feel, because there's always going to be something that weighs more than the other. And now your job is just figuring out in that moment what's more important.
Or like what's needed.
What's needed in that moment.
Yeah.
So yes, I can say no to the ads team. All right, now when I say no to them, I'm saying yes to Alani, and then now they're in another country, so I missed that time answering them. So now I miss out another day of progress with them to spend time with Alani, but I can't get that day back from them, which means that we lose a day in the business.
It's all a vicious cycle.
I got another day with Alani. I got more time to spend with her. But is she going to remember that time? Is she going to remember that time?
She's going to need you in 5 minutes anyway.
Absolutely not.
So, she's going to need you in 5 minutes anyway and be like,
it's always not a balancing act, but you always got to figure out what's the priority in the moment. So that's when I do feel guilty in terms of time.
Yeah.
Not spending it with her. And
speaking about time, I think that's another big change, specifically for you, that everything is revolved around her time. So that's a big thing with just, I think about with you waking up in the morning and sleep. Because before, you would wake up by 7 o'clock the latest, you're up.
That's a late morning.
The latest, because you had to listen to your show that you listen to every morning. Now, it depends on how she sleeps. That's our answer. It depends on how she sleeps. And so sometimes I feel like I have to remind you, like, remember, it can't be so rigid of like, he's like, yeah, but I want to be in the gym by this time. I'm like, yeah, but that's not my fault. She had you up for an hour at 4 a.m. So now just relax, take your sleep. You have the freedom to go to the gym at 11 a.m. Right? So that is another big change, that everything revolves around her time. I mean, now that she's getting older, a bit more routines and things like that, but things are always going to be changing. She's going to start walking. She's going to go to school. Her teeth's going to start growing. All these things are going to continue to change, and we're just going to have to roll with it. I think that's a big part of parenthood that I think we've been doing a good job with it, but it's still something that you kind of have to always remember. And
one thing I did in the businesses is that now I don't take meetings. I tried to take meetings before, like 10, 11 o'clock. Even at 10, now my goal is to start pushing those meetings back to afternoon.
We had a meeting at 8. We slept through.
Yeah, we slept through 8 o'clock meetings. Meetings that we scheduled, that we knew we had. We slept through weeks. Scheduled, we missed it multiple times. So you know that you can't make an 8 o'clock meeting because there's a chance that Alani may keep us up. And now we woke up. We woke up at 6. We had plenty of time to make it for that meeting, but she also woke up at 5 or 4 o'clock, kept us up,
and then went to sleep. And then she knocked out, and we knocked out.
We knocked out with her. So now I made it intentionally that my meetings don't start till after 10, and then I'm gonna start pushing that back to a 12 because I don't want to be rushing.
Not 12.
Because my first thing I do is go to the gym in the morning. So I wake up, I make sure I'm ready for the gym. First thing I do is go to the gym. So now if I wake up a little later in the morning, I don't have to rush to a 10 o'clock meeting. So I'm starting to push those back to after 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
But everything does revolve on Alani's time. So now you got to make sure that everything else you do revolves around her time. And that's what I've been working on personally, especially when it comes to the businesses.
Anything that you feel has changed with us personally, like our relationship, you would say?
I would say that We still go out as much. We still.
I feel like we go out for other people the same amount, but I don't feel like we've still been having like our single date nights.
Well, because we've been taking her with us.
Have we?
Yeah. We went to Chili's. We took her.
That was your birthday.
That was in May.
That was the last single date night. Not single, meaning just me and you and Alani. Okay, yeah.
So is she now included in a single date night?
No, she's not supposed to be included.
We could go tonight if you want. Let me check the schedule. But yeah, I guess that is something, right?
Yeah, I thought about it as with me having the being on leave. Now we don't have to wait for the weekends to do a date night. It can be during the day. I mean, it could be during the week. Sorry.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a problem. But that's a change that I've noticed.
Yeah, we got to be more intentional about that.
Yeah. What else have you noticed? Have you noticed anything else?
No, I think with our life has only changed. I think just time commitments. I think we're more structured in our days now a little bit more because we know. All right, well, Alani, every 2 hours she got to eat or she got to change stuff like that.
We use the app to make sure we're on point with that.
Yes, I don't think we've ever been this committed to our calendars and these apps in my life. So I would say that's the biggest change, like having that committed schedule every single day.
Yeah, that I would agree to that. That and date nights, I would say the biggest thing. But since we're ahead of it and we're kind of aware, we can always like make that change pretty quickly. I know I had asked you how you felt Parenthood was going. For me, I'm just excited to see, like, I guess, to see her grow and do different things. Like, I'm just excited to see, okay, now she's walking, now she's crawling, now she's doing this. And I think that with anything that we do with businesses and stuff like that, that we're able to adapt pretty easily and change as it goes along. And with having the help of family or just even the nanny, which has just been a big help for us, helps her to continue to grow, helps us to continue to do what we need to do for her, providing financially, setting things up for her and making sure that she's good, things like that. So I'm just excited to see us continue to grow as a family unit.
Yeah. We had to adjust all of our trust and estate documents after Alani was born because we didn't know her name. We didn't know her gender.
We didn't know her date of birth was
We didn't know anything about her. So we had to adjust all of our trust and estate documents. And we just said setting things up for us. So those are things we're making sure we're putting in place for her so that, you know, she could be prepared when she gets older and understand all of this stuff too. And I had tweeted about Dave Ramsey. He has a meeting with his family every single year about his estate.
Who's consisted of his family? Immediate
family.
Kids and wife.
Kids. That's it. Every single year about death. And especially us in the Black community, we don't talk about death enough, where we need to make sure our kids, our spouses, our whoever may be involved, grandkids need to be made aware of what happens when these things happen. So
what we want.
And what we want. What's our wishes? Who do we want to have what? So that's something that I'm excited about. Not death.
Excited is a strong word.
Not excited, but I'm happy that we are preparing ourselves for those moments so that when they do come, everything's ready to go. And I thought about that because you know we just did her life insurance and stuff like that, and they're asking who's going to own the life insurance, and the trust is going to own it. So things like that, I'm really excited that we're making sure that we have things in place that we didn't have in place for ourselves. So
yeah, not just talking about it, but walking that walk. Because if we're going to talk about generational wealth and financial literacy and entrepreneurship and things like that, those are also things that everyone should be looking into, even if you're not an entrepreneur or anything like that. But like you said, our culture really does not speak about it. And so some of the things you just mentioned, some of the things that we have set up for her so far would be, I would say 501k. 529 plan, and we do understand if she doesn't go to college, then what do you do with that? We'll cross that bridge when that comes, but you also can transfer it to another child if you want to. We also just have a brokerage account for her, and then we also have life insurance for her. And some people would say, if she was to pass, wouldn't you have more than enough money? Yes, we would, but it's not really just for the death benefit. It's more for her to have money as well. So that's another thing that we're setting up for her and that we're doing, I think, ahead of our parents. And what also has been interesting is like seeing like my mother become a grandmother.
Oh yeah.
And seeing like family react, like, so people that I consider to be my tias, my aunts, then they're like, oh, they're so excited. Like, oh my God, they see me grow up and now I have a baby. And so that has been a joy of being a parent as well. Just kind of having family meet her and grandparents being so excited, and you go out the window as when a grandchild is around, and them doing all the things that they talk about. You shouldn't always have her in your hand, but they always have her in your hand. And so that has been, I think, exciting and a fun part of being a parent as well. Other people just being excited for your child or to be around your child.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. So we just wanted to kind of give an update on what parenthood has been like. Yes, there's been sleepless nights, but
we ain't even talking about
not
that.
Sleepless nights, not a whole sleepless night though. Nah. Just nights that we are up maybe for an hour or so. There's no wood, but she's been pretty much a good sleeper from the beginning. She went through regressions and things like that, but we've had those, but it has been a good experience. And that's why when we see people just have that negative connotation to when you have kids, then you can't A, B, C, D. That has not been our experience, and we don't plan for that to be our experience either. Yeah. So we make sure of that.
I'm hyped we got kids now, so I could use that as a reason. People like,
you all in a, you know what to say.
People like, oh, I can't do this because I got kids. Well, we got kids now too. So now what? So yeah. But we wanted to make sure we shared our experience because we get it all the time. How do you balance this? How do you do that? How do you manage the businesses with having a newborn kid? We want to give you guys help. We want to give you guys insight onto where we are with parenthood, with life, with business, and how we are not balancing, because remember, you can't balance it, but how are we prioritizing which is important in the moment. So appreciate you guys being here. Anything else you want to add?
You didn't even do your commercial break.
Check out Cleaning Business University if you guys are looking to grow and scale a 6 or 7 figure cleaning business without cleaning any houses. You're looking to do this outside your 9 to 5. You're looking to create additional income, looking to create a business that doesn't have to have you dancing on TikTok, doing reels, anything like that. Check out Cleaning Business University. Link will be in bio. Link will be in the show notes. Link will be somewhere. So make sure you check it out.
And our students have over $4 million in revenue.
Shout out to our students.
Yes, for our students, they are killing it. We are in over 33 states, meaning our students have cleaning business in over 33 states. So if you ever want to know more about it, make sure you tap in. Once again, thank you for listening. Subscribe, leave a review, comment, share, all of the above, and have a good one.
All right, guys. Peace. See you next week.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.